The British Podcast Awards are back and entries are now open.
The British Podcast Awards have announced their return for 2019. Entries open today for 15 categories. Writer and critic Miranda Sawyer has been announced as the new chair of judges. We link to a list of the winners from 2018 in our show notes and in our newsletter. This will be the third year for the awards. Apple's quarterly financial figures now include total active users on iPhone. There are 900 million globally, and therefore 900 million installations of Apple Podcasts. Analyst Benedict Evans estimates that 2.5 billion Google Android phones, which all have the Google Podcasts player installed, if not the full app, and a further 600 million in China. Patreon are having system difficulties, and podcasters and others have been waiting longer than usual for payouts. The site has been taken down for maintenance at times over the last few days. They're hoping to have sorted payment by the end of tomorrow, and if it helps, our payment came in 3 hours ago. The impending launch of PodFan membership for podcasts was announced on February the 1st. It's like Patreon, but specifically for podcasts, says developer Jamie Perkins. It has a different payment model too. You can reserve your PodFan URL today, though. So Spotify are buying Gimlet. Kevin Goldberg shares his thoughts, pointing out that Apple has been mostly complacent on their podcast strategy, hardly innovating their app, slow-rolling their hyped analytics, and overall squandering their massive head start. Eric and Ellie from the Bellow Collective have a conversation about whether it's a good thing or not. And radio executive Stephen Martin makes an interesting point on Twitter. He asks, does this mean that Gimlet podcasts could contain commercial music, at least within Spotify? It could mean, he says, the advent of a new class of podcast, one that benefits music owners. Edison Research have revealed that we're listening to less of our own music tracks, both CDs and MP3s. 5 years ago, 38% of all Americans aged 13 and over listened to owned music at some point each day. Today, this has fallen by 1/3 to 25%. The company promises a further blog post to explain where all this listening has gone.